26. Let me give you a little bit of the context here while you're turning there and explain what's going on in Acts chapter 26. The Apostle Paul had been getting in trouble, and right now he's in front of Agrippa. And any of you can look this up on a number of Bible or historical sources and find out who is this person named Agrippa that Paul has to give his defense before. Agrippa is in the family of Herod. Who's Herod? Herod is described in the Bible as being from Idumea, meaning, under one West understanding, he would be what they would call an Edomite. Now, an Edomite is a descendant of an ancient group of people descended from Esau who lived in the traditional area of Israel. And down there, you have the Moabites, you have the Edomites, and you have the Ammonites. You have all three of those people groups. So supposedly, right under Israel, you have a group of white people, Asian people, and Japanese people. But it's unlikely that white people would actually be Edomites because we see that you didn't have those kind of people living in that area. So let me show you something here that's important. First, you got to understand a little bit about IUIC.
All right, Shalom. This is Harawan Banyasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. I want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Harakakodash, Ma'amath. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. And Shalom to you, Akim and Akwatim and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. I was watching this video with Dr. Edom, man. Vocab Malone spewing out his lies again, man. He went to go visit, the reprobate silver camp, IUIC, because they spew out lies as well. So this is not in their defense, but this is in defense of the doctrine, of the truth. All right, I'm going to read this real quick. Philippians 1:16. The one preacheth Yahushai of contention, not sincerely, supposing to add affliction to my bonds, but the other of love, knowing that I am set for the defense of the gospel. And that's what this is about, the defense of the gospel, of the truth. All right, that people like Vocab Malone is a antichrist against, meaning against the truth, against the anointed. He's a contender. All right, so he's Satan. So basically an adversary. But he made a point right there to where he said, matter of fact, all right, he made a point to where he said, below Judea, where Edom was, there were no so-called Caucasians or white people living there. Well, there's no such thing as a white person. The ones they call white or Caucasians, they're really red or pinkish, or pale pink, but they're not white, You just can't, you can see the blood through their skin. But, so he's stuck on this word white, and we're not color prophets. We teach about the speckled bird, meaning Israel is mingled amongst all nations. So we don't know who's who. We're not like Black Panthers. So, but anyway, Isaiah 8:20, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. All right. So he has no light in him. He's just full of darkness, man. Even when he's speaking about history, he goes off completely according to the scriptures. And he try to use big words, or they're not big words. He just try to throw ology or study of on the end of every word. Eschatology, ology. It sounds like he's saying something, but he's not, But matter of fact, this is 1 Timothy 6:3. If any man teach otherwise and consent not to wholesome words, and the scriptures and true words are wholesome words, man. All right, this is spiritual. Even the words of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, and to the doctrine which is according to godliness. He is proud, so he's proud, right? He's an Edomite himself, a German. most likely a Edomite, vocab Malone, specifically. Knowing nothing, so he knows nothing, man. The wisdom of this world is foolishness to Yahweh. But doting about questions and strife of words, whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, evil surmising, perverse disputings of men, of corrupt minds. See, he got a corrupt mind, perverse disputings of men. So that's what they want to do, dispute all the damn time. Of corrupt minds and destitute of the truth. Supposing that gain is godliness, from such withdraw thyself, man. All right, before I get into the history, because mind you, I'm going to play the clip. I'm going to play in a slow motion so we can hear exactly what he said. He said there were no Edomites living in that area, under Judea. So Agrippa couldn't have been an Edomite. Well, Agrippa was a descendant of Herod. Agrippa II was the last Herodian in rulership. You see that, of that lineage. All right. So the one he's talking about is Agrippa I, the father of Agrippa II, which is a direct descendant of Herod the Great. And then Herod the Great is a descendant of Edom, man, of his father, Antipater the Edomite. So, matter of fact, I'm gonna just read. It says, John 8:44, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. And that's what he's doing, going around the different camps in the spirit of a scoffer. He's doing the lust of his father, the devil, his authority. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth. All right? Because there is no truth in him. So the father of Herod, the father of Agrippa, all right, the father of, what's his name, vocab, is Edom. And going back before that, spiritually, Cain, the murderer, and Esau, the murderer. All right. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. All right. So I want to play back what he said, and I'm gonna go to the history.
Edomite is a descendant of an ancient group of people descended from Esau who lived in the Jordan area of Israel. And down there, you have the Moabites, you have the Edomites, and you have the Ammonites. You have all three of those people groups. So supposedly, right under Israel, you have a group of white people, Asian people, and Japanese people. But it's unlikely that white people would actually be Edomites, because we see that you didn't have those kind of people living in that area. White people, Asian people, and Japanese people. But it's unlikely that white people would actually be Edomites, because we see that you didn't have those kind of people living in that area.
All right. So with that being said, now I'm gonna show that he's a liar, because even in history, is known that Esau, that Caucasian Edomites, so-called white people, were staying down there, and he's clearly an Edomite. Now I think his mother was an Arabian, or something like that, and he married into Israel. I think his wife was named Miriam. There you go, Miriam. That was his wife. She was an Israelite, the sister of Aristobulus, which was the king of Judea, the true king of Judea, which this devil here stole his seat. All right, after you had John Hyrcanus had what's his name? Herod the Great's father, Antipater, in subjection. All right, he had Antipater in subjection, and I think his father John Hyrcanus the first forced Esau into what you can call it Judaism, into being following the culture of the Jews. Following the ways of Yahweh. So they always wanted to be Israelites, but they could never be true Jews, and they weren't allowed to be. It was forced upon them. But then you had people like Antipater, the Edomite. He wanted to be. Let me get it. All right, this is beautiful, man. Check this out. It says now, because if you understand history, you'll see that Herod was just like the fake Jews today, or just like vocab. To where they say they're the true Jews, or they say they're the Israelites. Like the vocab doesn't say that, but the fake Jews do today. They call themselves the true Jews. So if you speak about the history of the Jews, they're gonna be listening like you talking about them. The same way Herod. If you spoke about the Jews going into captivity under Nebuchadnezzar in 586 BC, if you spoke about that to Herod, he would think you're talking about his family, because let me just get into it. He just had a misunderstanding. All right. It says, instead, Josephus explains that Antipater's family converted to Judaism during the forced conversions by the Sadducee influenced Hasmonean leader. So he was kind of, influenced by the Greek mindset, but he was still, believed in the scriptures or in the law, but he didn't believe in certain things like spirit or afterlife and things like that. So that was the Sadducees was on. But then you had the what was they called? The Pharisees, which were strict on the law, and all this was a stem from the time of the Maccabees. That's when the Sanhedrin was really created and established and set in place for when Yahushua was on the scene. So that was, you had the Sadducees and Pharisees. So John Hyrcanus was an Israelite, a Sadducee, a Hasmonean, right? Leader, John Hyrcanus. Hyrcanus threatened that any Idumean who wished to maintain their land would need to be circumcised. All right, so that's why, and enter into the traditions of the Jews. So Esau had to get circumcised, Josephus acknowledges Herod as being by birth a Jew and Antipater as being of the same people with the Jews. That's not true. Nevertheless, this influential family came to be resented by many Jews for their Edomite ancestry. See, and that's where it cuts people like Josephus, and it cuts vocab Malone. Because if you look in history, John Hyrcanus and his family and the Hasmoneans, they resented Herod for being an Edomite. And Herod even visited the land of Idumea. And he knew that his people lived there. He was born there. So for vocab to say that there was no Edomites or Caucasians living in that area, that's a lie. All right. Now it says, Josephus acknowledges Herod as being, oh wait, my bad. Right here, number 10. Nevertheless, this influential family came to be resented by many Jews for their Edomite ancestry, a fact used by the Hasmoneans and their supporters against them. As such, in a polemic against Herod to discredit him in the eyes of the Romans as unfit to become king of the Jews. Antigonus, the Hasmonean, is quoted by Josephus as referring to Herod as no more than a private man and an Idumean, half a Jew. Antipater married Cypros, a Nabatean noblewoman, which helped endear the Nabateans to him. Their marriage helped bring about a close friendship between him and King Aretas, called by Josephus Aretas the Arabian, to whom Cyprus was related. All right, so Antipater married into the Arabians, and that's where Herod got a little dark complexion from. But he was still unfit to be a Jew, a king of the Jews, because he wasn't an Israelite. And the scriptures say that we're not supposed to vote anybody over us that's not an Israelite. All right. So this guy was unfit. So now right here it says it is generally accepted that Herod was born around 73 BC in Idumea. So he said it was no Edomites or so-called white people living in that land. And Herod was a Caucasian. He was an Edomite through his father Antipater. All right. South of Judea. Now, what did vocab say? He said there was no white people living, so-called white people living south of Judea. But the scriptures say Herod was born there. So there was definitely people still living there during the time of Agrippa. You know, Agrippa II was the last ruling Herodian of the dynasty, all the way up to about 100 AD. You know, he started ruling around 44 AD, 45 AD, after Herod Agrippa I. And that's the one Paul was dealing with, Agrippa I. All right. That's the one he was speaking to in Acts 26. So it says here, where was that? However, some authors think that he was born in about 72 BCE. He was the second son of Antipater the Idumean, and that's another word for saying Edomite or Edom, you know. A high-ranking official under Ethnarch Hyrcanus II. So he was a high-ranking official under the Hasmonean dynasty, but he was an Edomite, you know, and that's how they stole their way into power under Herod the Great. And Cyprus, a Nabatean, Herod's father was a descendant, you know, so like I read that together. And Cyprus the Nabatean, so that was his wife. Now, Herod's father was by descent an Edomite, whose ancestors had converted to Judaism. Herod was raised as a Jew. Man, so it was what? He was born in Idumea, and that's south of Judea. This is Jeremiah 16 and 19. O Yahweh, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity and things wherein there is no profit. You know, and that's twofold, because Israel going to say that our forefathers have inherited lies, and that goes with Isaiah chapter what's that, 14, where it said the Gentiles going to cleave unto Israel. It's talking about the Israelites, you know, that was waking up to the truth. But also, on another hand, in the kingdom, these heathens are going to say that they inherited lies. And that's the truth, man, that they've inherited lies. Herod inherited lies. He was born as a Jew. He was raised as a Jew, man, you know, under his father Antipater. And what's his name? Vocab has a misunderstanding of the scriptures.
Of Israel. And down there, you have the Moabites, you have the Edomites, and you have the Ammonites. You have all three of those people groups. So supposedly, right under Israel, you have a group of white people, Asian people, and Japanese people. But it's unlikely that white people would actually be Edomites, because we see that you didn't have those kind of people living in that area.